Hello, my friends. It's day 99, and we're reading 1 Samuel chapter 4 through chapters 8. And before we get into the recap today, we want to thank you for taking a moment to check out this video. Hopefully, you are enjoying the yearly Bible reading program. And if you have not yet accepted the invitation, there's still time. You can check out the description box below, and there you'll find a link that will take you directly to the YouVersion Bible app, where you can join us in reading the Bible every single day and leaving feedback on the things you're learning from God's Word. Don't think it's too late. At this point, it's not about finishing at the end of the year as much as it is finishing the reading of the Bible, and doing so using a chronological reading plan. I think you will enjoy it and you'll find it fascinating and easy to engage. And so when we look at today's reading, we're continuing our study, our reading of 1 Samuel the book of 1 Samuel, and it's getting us to the point where we're actually learning more about how Israel finally gets this king to lead over the kingdom. Now, of course, Israel is a theocracy, which means it is a nation that is ruled by God. But as in any theocracy, there is an individual that is often designated to rule or lead, should I say, not necessarily rule, but lead as if God is ruling. And the primary purpose of that central figure, or maybe multiple figures, is to keep the nation aware of what the ruling deity expects and what he desires. And so when we look at this, this is the interesting thing that's happening here, because it's not like before where Moses was the prophet and the lawgiver. We now have a kingdom, and we have um, a, a visual of what other kingdoms are doing. And all of them have kings, all of them have different figures that are leading in various ways. And to be honest with you, many people in this time would have thought that their kings were leading on behalf of the gods, right? Because there is this sort of imperial rule and identity that was associated with certain kings. So this concept is not unfamiliar, but it is different. The nation of Israel is a different kingdom with different laws, a different God, and all of that is important. Now, we see this happen in chapter 8, but before we get to chapter 8, we understand that the nation of Israel is at war with the Philistines, and they're losing members of their army. In fact, you see in chapter 4, they lost 4,000 men. And in addition to that, there was another 30,000 men defeated, or lost rather, in the second defeat in that chapter. So you're talking about a loss of 34,000 members of your army. And to add insult to injury, they have the Ark of the Covenant, which is one of the most sacred articles of the tabernacle, is actually taken away from them. And whenever Eli is made aware of this, what he does is he, in shock, if you will, he dies, and his son is named Ichabod, which it means where is the glory. And I say his son, but his descendant, meaning his grandson, is named Ichabod. So you see the dilemma, both natural and spiritual, that Israel is under, and they need someone to bring order. Now, Samuel is in many respects that central figure that will do that, but not in the way you might assume, right? We just got through reading through the book of Judges, and it's understood that a judge was intended to deliver Israel from her enemies. But this is different. In this reading that we had today, it acknowledged in chapter 7 that when Samuel led Israel to victory at Mizpah, he was made known to be the judge. He became the judge of Israel. But this is kind of the end of an era, right? He's the last judge. They won't be led in this manner any longer. And what they're going to look for is a king that can lead them, and, if you will, set up a kind of a dynastic rule among the nation of Israel. They're looking for this, maybe a monarch, if you will, comparable to what we see today. But they're looking for that figure, and they request one from Samuel, who is like why are you guys doing this? He's so upset about this. Um, but when God hears the request, these are the instructions that God gives Samuel, who is reluctant to actually follow through with the request. He says, listen, do what they say, because they are not rejecting you, they are rejecting me. They don't want me to be their king any longer. And he says in verse 8 of chapter 8, ever since I brought them from Egypt, they have continually abandoned me and followed other gods, and now they are giving you the same treatment. Do as they ask, but solemnly warn them about the way that a king will reign over them. And so, literally, verses 10 through verse 22 um, is a warning against having the kind of king or the king that they desire over God. Now, whenever they received this description of what this king would do and the burden that he would place on them, their response was, "We still want a king. We want to be like the nations around us. Our king will judge us and lead us into battle." He couldn't have slammed the door much harder in the face of God with those words. And essentially, what they're doing is they're saying, we need a man to do what other nations are receiving from their kings. We want that same thing. Having God is not enough. Winning the battles are not enough. Having the protection, the providence, the safety of God is not enough. We want a man to lead us because we want to be like the other nations. It's very interesting to see this sort of things happen, considering the sort of success they've had with God being their king all this time. So you see this sort of thing happen here, and you can't help but to draw the comparison to what we experience today. Would it be great to have a theocratic nation where, we acknowledge God as king and we wholeheartedly commit to his law? That would be great, but I can tell you it wouldn't look like anything we've ever seen before, because it would be far more simplistic, far more orderly, far more just, and there wouldn't be all of these different things that we jump through in today's politics and ideas of government. But this is what they want. They want that sort of typical government, typical monarch, or you know, uh, man-led system, and God gives it to them. We want to highlight this because what they're requesting is what they're going to get in Saul. And what Saul represents is the exact thing that God said would be harmful to you. But then the response to Saul is going to be David, who is actually what God would intend for them if they had the sense to ask for it, right? I mean, like they would have asked for like a David-like king instead of a Saul-like king, but they got what they asked for. So we're going to keep reading through this, and we're going to determine how all of this comes together. All right. So listen, I want to know what you're thinking. Leave your comments in the comment box below. Let me know what you're discovering as you read God's word. I would be thrilled to have conversation brewing over in the comment box about the things you all are learning. So until next time, thank you for watching. Take care. God bless, and remember, live by the word.